Deputy Maddie McGrath, you're a representative of the local people down here, and what is your experience of this protest, and what does this place mean to the people of this community?
I think you've been in there, Fatima, and thank you for coming down and going in and indeed engaging with our visitors, I like to call them. And I just went in and had a drive around and saw them and waved to them. Very friendly. They look kind of lost to me. So my experience is that it has a wonderful, rich legacy. And indeed, they're bewildered because, if you look on TripAdvisor, September 2022, there were reviews from people who had stayed here. So I want to scotch that notion that a hotel had been disused for a long number of years, which the national media seemed to hone in on. That's not true. Furthermore, in October, I think, of 2022, the owners had a massive press briefing and a press conference portraying their plans here, and they were very ambitious, wonderful plans of a world-class recreation and visitor centre and golf and leisure area, and also a whisky distilling company, which was in my area of the county, was moving up to really to be finalised and put into production here in Dundrum. That's only less than 2 years ago. So the people here are bewildered because most of them worked here, putting themselves through college. Their parents worked here. The biggest employer in the area, I'd say Dundrum Steel is a big employer, but a very big employer. And many of them got married here, had christenings here, had confirmations here. I was at several weddings there myself and many functions. So people are sure shocked and devastated. They have no truck and they want to hold out the hand of friendship to the newcomers that are inside today. And indeed, I think it's very sad to hear that one of them is a lady who's, almost at full gestational pregnancy, expecting a baby in the coming weeks. She moved out of her accommodation in Dublin, moved down here with no access to, medical facilities in here, certainly. Doesn't even have running hot water in the accommodation, and others who were working in Dublin settled there and had jobs, and they were with 24-hour notice, completely different.
The locals have mentioned that there's no Garda station here in the town, and yet there were quite a few Gardaí here recently. What did you see that day?
Well, I was delighted to be an observer here, stood across the road there. I was here the night before and all that morning, and to see the overwhelming, from 5 o'clock in the morning, the assembly of Garda vehicles, tow trucks, buses, and above all the public order unit, plus 10 or 15 big minibus loads of them, and the dog unit was in the vicinity. The superintendent, Eddie Golden, told me. I was shocked to think that the people here had been engaging with Inspector Desi Bell and the sergeants in Tipperary, Garda Station and Thurles right for the 11 weeks. There wasn't a dicky bird happen here. Totally peaceful. Any actors that came here from outside were sent on their merry way. Desmond Bell knew well that there was no need, there was no hassle here. If 15 or 20 uniformed Gardaí couldn't have dealt with the situation, and they could have dealt with the situation. And this was the siege of Dundrum, I call it. There were 200 plus guards from what I saw. I believe there was more of them on standby waiting in Holy Cross. I spoke to some of them when I was leaving. They said they were out since 3 o'clock the morning before. The cost of that operation, I will be asking all questions about that, but I think this is an outrageous affront to democratic elected people and to democratic people here, peaceful people, to have this kind of a show of power, a total charade, overkill. And indeed, any bit of a disturbance was when the Gardaí pulled the gentlemen that were standing on the barrier off it. Didn't ask them to come on, pulled them off it. Superintendent Golden told me that was the superintendent of a Silver Star from the public order unit. Superseded him. So this is Drew Harris tactics from the playbook of the RUC. Definitely what it is. And it's an exercise ground, a training ground really here for what maybe might go on in Dublin. Where were they when they arrived from Dublin? This was unbelievable. Nobody could go to work, go to the doctor. Farmers, people couldn't. A lockdown of every road. All the traffic corps Gardaí were pulled off the duty and put on here for the full 8-10 hours. And anything could have happened on the roads. And every guard from stations, other stations were neglected, from Clare and Tipperary and Waterford, brought in here, hundreds of them. But what happened the other day, it drives a wedge between the people and the Gardaí. I think it's a sad state of affairs for Ireland that they would do that here. And then on the other hand, they can overlook all the different issues that are going on inside in this premises behind us.
A recent Gript investigation has revealed that it's, several instances of protest and unrest in Dublin and other areas, that the Garda POU, Public Order Unit, specifically the guys in the shields and the helmets, were not wearing any identification, and that's against Garda protocols in as far as Gript is aware, having asked them about it and having looked over Garda protocols in the course of that investigation. What was your reaction to that?
My reaction to that is thanks for doing it. They should wear them. They're always supposed to be identified. Okay, you have the situation where people mightn't like to know where they're from. They sign up for this. Ordinary Gardaí to do this. But I mean, the whole situation. They were to assemble in Templemore and in Tiptown at 4 a.m. that morning. So then they travelled to here. So the actual clearance of the gate didn't probably start till, I'd say, 8 o'clock. So they're psyched up and hyped up in the van. They came across the road there at one stage and they were directed to go back. So they were obviously on tenterhooks. Then they came the second time. And it's physically intimidating. A dozen or 15 of them down there. There were more on the road up here. And they're psyched up for this. And psyched up for massive trouble. This is my point. There wasn't going to be a finger lifted here by anybody. And why are they psyched up? Why are they there at the dog unit up in the village? I mean, this is an appalling situation. They had the intelligence, I'm saying, with the people that are here. There was nobody here that was going to cause any trouble. To waste that kind of money, but to move on to show that show of strength in a peaceful, tranquil village like Dundrum, who can't get a guard normally. There's no resident guard here anymore, and have to wait for, as I said, 40 minutes for a guard to come normal times if they're on duty, if they're not busy in Tiptown. I had instances last week in Tiptown in the middle of the night, last night week, where lawless behaviour going on. A gentleman running around with a knife and headbutting a pole. It took ages for the Gardaí to come. People of the town terrorised. A scrambler motorbike going up the footpaths with no lights or anything else. Lawless behaviour. And the Gardaí won't deal with it. I don't able to deal with it because they haven't the numbers.